And we're back. So we just visited the speakeasy and talked to Trixie Trotter and learned that the only person she's going to hand over the evidence to on Kid Tanner is Artie McFly. We just happened to see Artie McFly go by on a train.
Hey, Edna.
Mr. Crockett, what can I do for you?
What are you doing out here in the middle of the night?
Saving people from alcohol, vice, and disorder. And also keeping a lookout for hot stories. You'd be surprised how much news breaks on this corner.
Broken any stories tonight?
Only the usual. Mayor Thomas trying to slink out of the speakeasy. Frankie Needles crashing his car into a fire hydrant. Nothing that'll get me the front page.
Hey, I got a hot lead for you.
Oh? What is it?
Officer Parker reformed.
He has? Really?
Soon. Just you wait.
You might as well write it now, because, it's dark out anyways. It's not going to get published in the morning. And by then I'll have this all worked out.
What was that song you were singing earlier?
Do you like it? I wrote it myself. It really gets the toes tapping at the Stay Sober Society meetings. Although I suppose that could be the Shakes. Would you like to hear it again?
Would I ever?
Sure.
I knew if I waited long enough, somebody would request it. You say you've lost your self-respect, but you should care. It's not too late to redirect and start to care. Don't despise the good and pure. Time to rise up from the sewer. Wash off all that foul manure. Show the world you care. You should care. You should care what people think of you. Of goals that you could name. Reclaiming your good name is what you ought to do. You should care. You should care. If your reputation is in disrepair, it's not going to hurt you to reclaim your virtue, for you should care.
Catchy.
You really think so?
Yeah, it's, got a good hook to it.
One needs a good hook if one is fishing for souls.
Well, as horrible as that is, we do know kind of who that applies to, don't we? And who is horribly influenced by music.
Do you think I could have a copy of your You Should Care lyrics? I've, got a club of my own that could really use some inspiring.
Sure. Let me just get a page out of the hymnal. There you are.
Hey, thanks.
So let's find out what's been going on back here.
You know, Trixie Trotter sings a song that sounds a lot like your You Should Care.
She does?
Yeah, but hers is a little more carefree.
That's what you get when you sing for booze hounds and gangsters.
What's going on with you and Emmett? The last time I saw you, you seemed to be kinda interested in him.
That was before I belatedly realized that his agreement to host my Stay Sober Society was a clever ruse to ferry barrels of hooch to his so-called laboratory.
Sorry about that.
Now his very presence fills me with an irrepressible urge to pick at his philosophical and intellectual foundations with every tool in my vocabulary.
So you're not dating?
Dating? The mere thought of romantic involvement with that undisciplined techno-anarchist is preposterous.
Good. What's Kid Tannen been up to for the last 2 months?
Didn't you hear? It was in all the papers.
I've been, traveling.
Well, the feds were all set to arrest Tannen on tax evasion charges. Seems they'd gotten Tannen's books from his accountant.
I heard something about that, yeah.
Well, the accountant disappeared, unsurprisingly. But the feds still thought they had a case. After all, they still had the books, right?
Right.
Wrong. The day before the trial, the books up and vanished right out of the court's evidence locker.
No.
Lots of fingers were pointed, but honestly, the whole town's so corrupt that it could have been anyone. Court clerks, cops, janitors.
Cops. Well, we happen to know about a cop who's on the payroll of Kid Tannen, who did mention that he does get paid to look the other way while possibly some evidence is destroyed.
So kids walking around free?
Free, clear, and laughing it up in his new speakeasy. The feds want to bring a case up against him, but without those books, they've got nothing.
Do you know anything about Officer Danny Parker?
Parker? Just another soul lost to the twin vices of booze and despair. I've asked him to tell me his story for my column. Sort of a cautionary tale, but he's never in the mood to talk to me.
Might be your singing voice.
You wouldn't happen to know anything about Trixie Trotter, would you?
Kid Tannen's latest conquest? Well, she claims to be a lounge singer from Seattle, but my sources in Washington have never heard of her. I mean, honestly, Trixie Trotter, what kind of name is that?
Whatever happened with that speakeasy arsonist?
I was about to ask you the same question.
Me?
Don't play coy with me. I may not have any journalistically acceptable proof, but I know you had a hand in Carl Sagan's daring escape from the authorities.
Didn't you think that Sagan was innocent?
I used to, but after he escaped, 2 more speakeasies were torched in Colfax and Georgetown.
That's just a coincidence.
Coincidence? Or is our friend Carl a serial arsonist?
I'm pretty sure that Carl Sagan didn't start those fires.
We'll see. One of the reasons I'm camped out so close to Tannen's new speakeasy is it gives me the chance to catch the arsonist in the act. It'd make a great story for my column.
See ya.
Keep fighting the good fight.
We've gotten all the information we need from her. Let's see what else is going on in town.
Sonny, you're just in time.
Have you been, Emmett? I know I haven't seen you in a couple of months.
I'm great, and I owe it all to you.
Really?
Yes, that argument I had with my father during our jet drill experiment gave me the incentive to finally quit that dreary court job. I've committed myself full-time to a life of science.
So, thanks for watching Einstein while I've been away.
It's been a pleasure. He's proven to be a surprisingly willing test subject. It's almost as if he's been working with me for years.
More like decades. What's the story with the little car and all this equipment?
Einstein and I are conducting a few experiments with this 1/4 scale model to work out a few hitches in my planned demonstration at the Hill Valley Expo in a couple of months.
A radio-controlled car?
No. Well, yes, but it'll be so much more than that. It
It's
will
a
amaze
radio-controlled
the world.
rocket car.
Aha! Got it!
Got what?
I'll show you. Ready to go, Einstein?
No!
Watch this! When this baby hits 23 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious cow flop.
Einstein!
No!
Get him out of there!
Not to worry. I've got a fail-safe eject mechanism around here someplace. See? Nothing to worry about.
Nothing. I'll go see if I can find something to help. Or someone.
What have you done, Emmett?
Don't worry, Emmett. I'm sure you'll get it right someday.
Oh, I'm not worried about that. Right now, I'm more concerned with Einstein.
Can't you just go into the courthouse to get Einstein?
If I still had my job as a clerk, sure, but lately a lot of evidence has gone missing, so they've installed new locks. Now the place is sealed up tighter than my dad's wallet.
What went wrong with your rocket car?
I'm not entirely sure. As soon as we get Einstein down, I'm gonna go look for it.
What's up with you and Edna? A couple months ago, I could swear she was making goo-goo eyes at you.
That was before my father had her stay sober society meeting thrown out of our house. Now she takes every opportunity she can get to snipe at me and my work. It's very distracting.
Women, right?
Do you know anything about Officer Danny Parker?
My pop says he's a good cop when he's not drinking.
Good.
Of course, now I hear he drinks all the time.
Not good.
You know anything about Trixie Trotter?
The songbird of the Sierras? The nightingale of the north? The floozy of the foothills? Never heard of her. Man, I've definitely never snuck into Tannen's speakeasy to listen to her.
By the way, can I borrow your fake mustache?
Well, I'll go off and see if I can get some help.
You do that. I'll stay here and see if I can think of a way to get Einie off that ledge.
Just like I managed to open that door that was giving you so much trouble. Let's see what Doc Brown thinks about all this.
Hey, Doc. How's the room?
It's a little cleaner than I would have imagined for a Depression-era flophouse. How are your investigations going?
Doc, Parker's in worse shape than we thought. We've screwed up his life so bad he's been dumped by Jennifer's future grandmother.
Ah,
I know.
Marty, it's more important than ever that you get Officer Parker back on his destined path. If Jennifer never exists, then I'll never take you to 2015 to save your kids. Then old Biff will never...
Paradox City. Got it. Where'd you park the DeLorean?
I hid it in the DeSoto lot. Nobody's buying cars these days, so it should be safe in there.
Hey, who did burn down Tannen's original speakeasy anyway?
I still don't know. I'd really like to find out before we go home.
I never did get a straight answer about why he came back to 1931 in the first place.
It's, personal. When this is over, I'll tell you all about it.
I'm gonna hold you to that, you know.
Let's get some backstory.
Can you explain all this? I'm confused.
It's very simple. In the original timeline, Timeline A, the speakeasy arsonist was never caught, creating one of Hill Valley's enduring historical mysteries.
Okay.
When I traveled back to 1931, I created Timeline B, in which I was misidentified as the arsonist and subsequently killed by Kit Tannen's goons. Einstein came with me, and somehow he ended up in the DeLorean when its fail-safe mechanism triggered, sending it back to 1986.
Which is where I came in.
Precisely. You traveled back to June 14th, 1931, creating Timeline C, a world in which Carl Sagan wasn't rubbed out by Kit Tannen. But Arthur McFly was served with a subpoena.
And shot by Kid Tannen's goons.
Yes, so you jumped back in time 6 hours, creating Timeline D, saving your grandfather's life, but somehow preventing Kit Tannen from meeting his date with justice.
Which is why the Tannens were so powerful when we jumped back to 86.
Uh-huh. So now we've returned to August of 1931, creating Timeline E, in which, fingers crossed, we'll send Tannen to prison where he belongs. Got it?
Sure.
Good.
One question.
What?
Can you explain all this? I'm confused.
Ho ho!
Why are Tannens always such jerks anyway?
It's hard to say. Rogue Neanderthal genes in their DNA, perhaps.
I haven't gone back far enough to find that answer, Marty. I'm sorry.
Why didn't you tell me I'd run into your younger self tonight?
Because I don't remember being out here tonight. Clearly, your interactions with my younger self 2 months ago have slightly altered my personal timeline. I never had the nerve to perform public experiments like he's doing. No matter. Those experiments will be forgotten once I've seen Frankenstein.
Frankenstein?
Yes. Right now, my younger self is fiddling around down there with rocket propulsion systems for his demonstration at the Expo.
The thing that'll kick off your scientific career.
Exactly. Now, the rockets are a horrible idea, and I'll soon realize that they'll never work. But eventually, I'll wander into that movie theater and see Frankenstein and clear my mind. I've kept the ticket stub from that movie in my wallet ever since. See?
Why?
Because it's during this movie that I'll have the inspiration for my breakthrough at the Expo.
doesn't have anything to do with reanimating the dead, does it?
Not the way you're thinking, no. But during that famous scene when Colin Clive turned the wheel that raised that shrouded figure into the tower, and that bolt of lightning struck, well, let's just say more than one brain was reanimated that night.
I saw him.
Who?
My grandpa, on his streetcar for just a second. Doc, we gotta find him.
Why?
Trixie thinks she's got something that could put Kid away, but Artie's the only one who can tell her for sure. I guess he's kind of her tutor or something.
Ah, so that's the connection. When your grandfather disappeared from Hill Valley for 2 months, the bond between him and Miss Trotter was severed, eventually leading to a timeline in which Trixie lost the nerve to betray Tannen.
Yeah?
We've got to find your grandfather.
Any sign of Artie?
Haven't spotted him yet.
Emmett's not having much luck getting Einstein off the courthouse.
I'm not surprised. Einstein's a smart dog, but heights give him the willies.
What can we do?
I've got it.
What?
Just get my younger self distracted, and I'll handle the rest.
Okay, I better get back to fixing history.
Be careful, Marty.
And that was a whole lot of backstory. But you know, every time you come back to the future or the past or the present, you gotta talk to everyone to find out what's been going on and get all your dialogue options opened up. Let's see if we can get Einstein off that roof next time.